All right, guys, welcome back to Crossman Productions. Man, so it's Tuesday, early in the week. We've had a lot going on this past weekend, and then last week, if you guys missed it, we had Babyface Blackburn from Anthony Babyface Blackburn from Power Slap on. If you missed that interview, definitely go back and check that interview out. So today, I am excited about bringing in my next guest. So my agent Steve, he's always bringing me guys to come and talk to, and so he told me that he has a friend who's a DJ over on the East Coast, who's has a radio show called Mean Machine Radio. So I wanted to bring him in, kind of get to know him, kind of learn his story. And this guy is he's been a DJ for a long time, has met a lot of just some awesome people throughout his career. I talked to him a little bit last week, and man, this guy is just incredible. So wanted to bring him in and introduce you guys to him. How's it going, Gregory?
Hey, Parks, how are you? Let me just fix my thing there. I want to. My face is big enough for this square right here. So there you go. All right, thank you. That was a very nice intro there, Parks. I appreciate that.
Well, cool, man. So I'm excited about having you on the show. I know we tried to work this out last week, and you got into a car accident.
Yeah, I was a little bit banged up, but you know what? We rocked on anyway. And there's pictures of it on Twitter. People are like, "Oh my God, what happened?" I'm like, "You think this is bad? You should see the guy's bumper." I said, "But it's I don't. I make a dent just like a deer, I guess." Yeah. So it was an accident, and it was a close call with everything, but I'm back. That was a few weeks ago, and I appreciate all the well wishers that I had, and the emails and the messages and everything. And evil doesn't die, man. I ain't going anywhere, so. I'm good.
Well, I'm glad you made it, man, and be able to come back on, get on the show, and we look forward to be able to sit down and kind of talk to you, and kind of learn more about your journey, and learn a little bit more about your radio station and all the things that you've been working on.
Sure. And I appreciate you taking the time. As you know, and as our mutual friend Steve knows, I don't do a whole lot of interviews because I'd like to make it about others. That's what I'll get to in a little bit. But occasionally I do talk about myself. I have no problem with that, I guess. But obviously, you and I are friends, and I wanted to make sure that I try to captivate your audience as best I can, just by being me. All I have to do is be me. They tell me, I'm pretty good at being me. So I mean, it's memachineradio.com, but we've been. To start chronologically, I started in radio and just DJing in general a long time ago, in the 80s. So some of your audience might not have been alive then. Some maybe they are. I don't know. Some I have tattoos older than them. But in any event, the case is this something I always wanted to do. The first time that I heard my hero, which was Wolfman Jack, I heard him on. He was actually on TV and then on radio as well. And then I saw American Graffiti. He's the DJ in the movie American Graffiti. I'm like, wow, I was blown away when I heard him. Like, wow, I would love to do that. That's awesome, And
right.
People like Casey Kasem and then later on like Howard Stern and people like that. But I mean, even like the old Dan Ingram from WABC, and Carol Miller. Like this is all New York radio stuff because Jersey didn't have a whole lot of radio. That was prevalent at the time, so it was always based on New York, since we were right there. And I heard that for the first time. I heard him, and then I would pretend that I was a DJ. I'd have my little cassettes. Yeah, I'm gonna date myself. I had little cassettes, and I put the thing out on the on my door, above my room, like "Do not disturb." Yeah, okay. And right. I had my little thing, and the music would come, and then when there would be a break, like you're listening to the radio and you have the cassette and you're going to record it and everything, and I would pretend that I would talk over the part where there was the breaks, when the DJ would talk, and I would pretend I was the DJ. I don't remember what names I used. It was probably embarrassing because I was like 15 years old, but in any event, I was actually younger than that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people that do know know me, not from just my team, not from when I'm on the air, but just in just in passing, or they look it up on the internet. I mean, that's not hard to find. That it's not a claim to fame, but it's kind of how people remember. Like, oh yeah, I remember hearing that story. So it kind of goes like that. So my grandfather's best friend was a guy named Louis, and this was in Newark, New Jersey.
Right.
This is late 70s now, so I'm like, 8 years old, 9 years old, and he used to bring me over to Louis' house, which was in far, and everybody knew my grandfather, Sonny. So I hang out. It's with this guy Lou and his wife Mary, and there was other people there. I didn't really know who they were at the time, but they just were friendly. They were just really nice people, like just very accommodating. Always, I mean, we're Italian, everything was like, oh, hi, how you doing here? Sit down and eat this.
Right.
You're too skinny. You could be 400 pounds. You're too skinny. Sit down and eat. So that's the way it was. And I remember I used to spend a lot of time there, even when my grandfather wasn't around. I got very close with that family. And I would go over there on Saturdays. Remember, there was like Saturday morning cartoons when it was only on Saturday mornings back in the. Okay, so I would do it, and we're eating like spaghetti at like 11 a.m. It was awesome, on a Saturday. And we're watching Super Friends and everything. Well,
Right.
those that family, the guy's name, Louis' last name is Castelluccio, and for those that don't know who that is, that's Frankie Valli's parents. So that's who used to babysit me. So it's true. It's a true story, and. So, and then people are like, oh, tell us the story about this and that. Yes, Joe Pesci is from my hometown of Belleville, New Jersey. He used to cut my aunt's hair. He was a singer back then. He was a lounge singer. So, but to us, it's not that big of a deal because we knew a lot of Bob Gaudio, a lot of people that were in the force, and stuff like that. Now, I never met like Sinatra or anything like that, but these were type of people that were just around. Like they didn't act pretentious or they were just, neighborhood guys.
Right.
And, but it is true. It is a true story that, I'm sitting there, and I'm one of the only people that can say that I'm sitting on watching Saturday. So I'm watching Super Friends with Joe Pesci, Frankie Valli, Bob Gaudio, Louis, my grandfather, and Mary, and we're all sitting there eating spaghetti at 11 a.m. and watching Super Friends. It's a true story, man. Wow. So a lot of people go, "Oh, wow, that's yeah." I have a picture of I have a couple pictures of me with his dad and everything. He passed away a long time, but with the family, they were very. The point being is that they were noble. They're not what you might think. People get that moniker. You're from this part of Jersey, and we're time. Let me tell you something. That's not always the case. They were just really nice people, and I remember I would hear and listen to the radio a lot. And I remember Frankie Valli's dad, Louis, he put his arm around me once. And I said, I want to do what I heard. Like, I want to do that. I don't want to be a movie star. I don't want to be a rock star. I want to do that. I knew right at that moment that that's what I wanted to do. Right. And he put his arm around me and he said, Greg, you can be better than them. They're good, but you could be better than them. I said, nah, I don't know. I mean, they're like superstar. He's like, they told my son the same thing. You have a Jersey accent. Your last name's going to hold you back. You're from here. Nobody, you're not from New York. It's not going to work. Or, all that, that kind of stuff. And, well, how do you like me now? Because it's something where it wasn't just a labor of love. It was, if you want something bad enough, it's not going to knock your door down. You have to, you can't just follow your dreams. You got to chase them full speed. And that's, the fact that it was him, but my grandfather agreed. He's like, you could do that. And so fast forward a few years later, and I had DJ'd I was a mobile DJ, and I had DJ'd my very first, it was a wedding. And here I am announcing a bridal party. I'm like 15 years old. This isn't like, mid, like going, I think maybe 86, the end of 86, something like that. And I haven't looked back since. So that is a true story. It's not my claim to fame. It's just the fact that some people are enamored with that, but it is true. But me knowing them or that's not how I got to where I got. It was nothing but working hard and then eventually working smart.
Right. So how did you get into radio, and what was your first gig, like actual, on the air in Jersey?
You're going back to probably 1989 at this point. So we did, we were doing mobile stuff, and occasionally people would show up at a wedding or a prom or a bar mitzvah or whatever it was. Right. And I worked for a company that was out of Nutley, New Jersey, which is where I went to high school. So you get, you occasionally meet people like, we're DJing a party and there's the guys from Cool and the Gang are in there, like whoever. I mean, because we did a lot of stuff in New York for Philip Morris and bigger like corporate events and that kind of thing. So occasionally you would rub shoulders with those people. And I was enamored. I mean, I was like 16 years old. I was like, whoa, you know. Um, and I happened to meet guys that worked at Z100. They happened to be at the same party, so I ended up talking to them because they came over like, oh wow, you have your tuxedo on, and we had albums. There was like milk crates, 75 to it. Everyone knows those Tuscan milk crates, and everyone, it says "Do not steal this shit" or whatever, and everybody had like 50 of them. So yeah, I mean, you could comfortably put, and everything is done by beats per minute and so on. So to learn how to mix and all that kind of thing. So I had to take a class on to do that. I remember my mother wrote a check, and then I had to take a class. It was in the back of a record store to learn how to mix, learn how to talk, do all those type of things. Speak from your feet all the way out, not using your throat. That's and this is before my voice dropped, obviously. So I, you learn those little things. So it was that the mobile stuff that allowed me to get out there a little bit. Went to school, had a regular job, if you want to call it a regular job, and then I would DJ on the weekends. I mean, it's like the traffic light. You're putting on your tux and doing all this stuff because you got to go to a wedding, and you're on there, and you're made like you work the whole night, and you got like $40 or something like that. But it didn't matter. I enjoyed what I do. I loved it. The fact that I could run a room and play music that people liked, and they're dancing, and they're going to have it on video forever. It was special. It was nerve-wracking. That was the last time I did get nervous, but it was something that I knew that I was on the right track. So fast forwarding that, you meet different people that come in and out of these type of places because there are a lot of New York people. Met the guy there, and they hooked me up with a guy by the name of Shadow Stevens, and he worked for Z100. And he was from Montclair, New Jersey. I haven't seen him since I was probably a teenager, but anyway, I didn't have a license. I didn't have any of that, so I had to start. I went there, and we do a little internship. You know what that means, right? Yeah, that's great. You want to be a DJ? Good. Go get us coffee. Go get us pizza. And I did. I paid my dues. You know what I mean? I did what I had to do. We took a couple of stints that we went over to Seton Hall, where Pirate Radio is. So a little bit of that, Montclair State, anywhere that I could get any kind of anything just to do it. So you had the mobile stuff and then that. So I'm like, okay, well, I can't get on the air yet. Do I need an FCC license? Do I not? Do I need to have a provision? Like, what do I do? So I had to learn. So it was basically, honestly, Parks, it was just, there was no one to say, here's the parameters. There is no cliff notes for becoming a disc jockey. Are you this kind of DJ? Like, or are you just an announcer? Are you a public service? And I mean, there's all different types of people would say, oh, a disc jockey, meaning like for music. So it wasn't a whole lot of radio. At first, it was like this swamp at WGT, in Kearney. I mean, like some of these places, like, good God, I can't believe that I can still breathe after being in them, but you pay your dues. It was at the time I knew, I was in the moment. I knew that this was important. I know that this sucks and that I'm not making, I didn't get paid for like 2.5 years. It turns out make shit. So you had to have a regular job, but I kept showing up. They're like, you again? Yeah, me again. And so they're like, God damn. And they let me in. They didn't think I'd come back. I mean, they treated me horribly, but I passed the test. I mean, they needed to test your metal. That's why mentally, as tough as they could come, because you had to build that up. Like you say, people have thick skin. It's a moniker for it's you really need to have it up here, because it's very easy for you to, they smell blood in the water. You're done. And there's all sorts of people that want to do what you're doing. What makes you different from them? What makes you better than them? Well, you have to decide. Like I tell people all the time, you have to make a decision. You want to fit in or do you want to stick out? I wanted to stick out in a good way. So I got my opportunities where I could get them. So it went from that to a little bit of stint. I couldn't get on the air. I was too young. I wasn't ready back then anyway. I was nervous, I mean, there's thousands and thousands of people. Listen, this is New York City now. And you're like, oh. So it was, I knew that I was on the right path. And I'm like, all right, well, the radio thing, I'll have to shelf it for a little bit. I'll do the mobile stuff. Then I would work at clubs. Yeah, like strip clubs, regular, like private parties, like rich people that have like in their backyard, or they have like a band. And when the band has to take a break, they have breaks in the band. So there's no dead air. Right. So they have a DJ. I mean, some of these places, like in North Jersey, Upper Montclair, Glen Ridge, Cedar Grove, places like that in near Essex County, which is where I'm from. In any event, it was just I was hedging everything. I don't know what I'm going to do. All right, so I'll work here. I'll do work here, and then wherever I could get anything, disposable income, whatever it was.
Right.
I just wanted to keep working, and it went from records, then it went to eventually CDs, and that was for a while. Remember the big Case Logics, and you had all that.
Right.
I always had the most. So then I ended up moving to Florida, and I'm in South Florida, and I'm working at several. I'm managing a club. I'm DJing, and I was a DJ. And I actually fired myself as the manager so I could become the head DJ because he sucked, and I was better than him. But I basically ran the whole place anyway. And I'm like, this is like at the ripe old age of 24. So yeah, so we're in South Florida at the time, and so I worked at a place called Crazy Horse as well. They got really busy because the Dollhouse in Fort Lauderdale had shut down. So all of a sudden, everything, so it was very upper, it was upscale, and it wasn't. But I've worked in some shitholes too. I mean, where the place is just oozing ridiculousness. But I treated it, even though I was in a strip club or whatever it was, as if it was my own private radio station. So I would announce a top 10. I would do things that I knew. It was always that format. No one had ever done that before. Guys, we'll talk real quick, and this we're going to have $20 shots, and they sounded robotic, and I wanted to be different. And I never cursed on the air before. I never cursed. Not because I would have gotten in trouble. There's no 7-second delay. You're live. People are drunk. It's a strip club. I mean, they're not going to have the highest standards, obviously, but I just didn't feel the need. Yeah, I mean, I just didn't feel the need to do that. I always thought that people that overdid that, they were saying that because they didn't have the guts to say what was really on their mind. So I wanted to be as real as I could be. And I just was being like I said, I alluded to before, I was just being me. So now I'm learning that part of it. And then lo and behold, one of the DJs from the Dollhouse, a guy named David Starr, he was like the head DJ there. He said, well, I'm working down in Cooper City, Florida. I do stuff for Miami Dolphins and, like sports stuff. He goes, you're good with sports? I said, yes, I'm very good with sports. I am a Steeler fan. I said, but, I could deal with the Dolphins. Listen, if it was the Dallas Cowboys, I don't care if they showed up with like bags of money. I would have said adios. So, yeah. So, and I know you're in Texas. Don't be offended, but they suck, man. I mean, I'm sorry. You're a Dallas fan?
Hey, you see my,
all right. I'm going to go now. I'm going to log off now. And thanks for having me, Parks. But anyway, like I said, you don't like the Red Sox, do you?
No, I'm not a Red Sox.
All right, then I'll stay. All right. So I was just like, well, all right, let me check it out. So I go down there. I'm nervous again. And it's not what people don't think there's like a big party going on. And like, it's the most boring, mundane shit that you've ever seen. It's just people sitting at desks doing like, they don't seem very like excited or enthusiastic about anything. Right. But it's a business. I saw it from the business side of it. So I go down there. I talk to this guy, Phil. He goes, all right, I'm going to do this course for the Miami Heat and all the local stuff because we're in Dade County now. And so, and then someone like Jim Mandage will walk by from the 72 Dolphins, or Dan Marino would be in the parking lot. You're like, holy shit. Like, do I act like fanboy? Do I just walk by? Do I tell them the fucker? Like, I didn't know how to act. I know I'm staring at these guys, but Kim Bocamper comes in and you're like, I'm 6'2". This guy's like, I'm like, holy shit. I better not do anything to upset him. But, and they had a country station in there too. I think it was something Kiss or whatever it was. It was this, and it was literally the size of like a tiny bathroom on like an airplane. The guy's standing up because he couldn't sit, and all the stuff is around, and it was country music, which that's really not my thing. I don't do like country or rap, but that's fine. I know a lot of people like that, but so they're in there, and then there's sports side of it. So I go over and I'm standing next to the guy, and he's doing, okay. And then we have a limited slate tonight. It's a Miami Heat do this, and the Florida Panthers do that. So it was all Florida stuff. So once again, they're like, oh, you want to learn radio and everything? Okay, you could be an intern, and great. All right, what do I do? He goes, you know where Dunkin' Donuts is? I go, yeah. Why? Down the street? He goes, yeah. Here's the list of what the guys want. Wow. So here we go again. I'm waffling down the goddamn street. I have to pay for it. The guy that hasn't gotten paid in 2 years, I got to pay for this shit. This guy's got money flying out of his ass. I got to go and pay for it because they want it. It's like being hazed, like in like a sorority or whatever fraternity.
Right.
But I took it, man. I knew that this would lead to, otherwise I would have been like, fuck off, but I didn't. I stayed the course, and then I sat with these guys, and then I was able to announce some of the stuff and just scores. Right. Did I get nervous? The light goes on. That goes on when I'm live on Saturday night today, that on-air thing, and you have the delay.
Right.
You want to talk about daunting at 25 years? I mean, it just was. This is the undefeated 72 Dolphins listening and watching. And then they're standing there too.
Right.
Don't screw up. Action. You're like, what the so, but it was the best thing that it could be, because if you could hang with those guys, those type of people, you could do anything.
Right.
Now, remember, I did mobile DJing, so
Right.
I was used to having live people in front of me. So once you've done that, I can't say for certain if I wouldn't have been nervous otherwise. But being that you can, I've worked in some big clubs where there's like a couple of thousand people in there, and then sometimes
Right.
just a small one. But when you're in front of people, there's no delay. Anything, they can see you. If
Right.
you make a mistake, which I've taken the wrong CD out and there's like dead air, that's our kryptonite, dead air for a disc jockey.
Right.
I've made those mistakes. And the fact that I was in front of people live, well, now I could do that on the air in a stream if we're live on the air, if I'm conducting an interview, whatever it is. I think that got me ready for that. I needed to go through all these trials and tribulations and being treated like crap and all that stuff because they needed to know. If it was easy, honestly, everybody would do it, right? So let's test you. Let's see what you're really made out of. You think you're tough physically? Try being tough mentally, because you got to be rigid. You got to be vigilant. You have to be resourceful. You have to be resilient all the time.
Right.
And I did at a young age. And that, more than anything else, got me where I am today. And as I continue to do it, only because I believe that at some point I had to know that the only person I don't have to prove it to all these people. It was me. I figured it out early. I have to be me. I have to prove nothing to anyone but myself. Right. Because if you don't know who you are, how is anyone else going to know who you are? They'll see right through you. You reinvent yourself online and do this or do that. I find that to be bad advice. I think that you should just be you and your niche and your people and your listeners and your they will find you. That's just the way I feel about it. It's not cookie cutter. It's not the same for everyone. That's
man. So what do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned in all your time of DJing?
Remember to tip your waitress, or you won't get shit at the booth and you'll die of thirst. I don't know about lesson. I mean, it's so hard though, Parks, because there's so many years and so many different venues and everything. I just remember that I treated everybody as well as I could,
right?
Regardless, the CEO the same way as the janitor, or whatever you want to say, because at the end of the day, there was A-listers, there was B-listers, there was people who knew nothing. It didn't matter. I had their ears. I controlled the room. I'm not a control freak, but so I remembered that I could bring the room up, I could bring the room down. They go as I go. So you're commanding the room. You have to have a presence, and I've had that. I'm lucky and blessed enough to say that I know that I have one. When I speak, people listen, because there's a difference between talking and speaking. There really is. So I was able to use that radio style format, and wherever I went, that's where I was going to be. I was going to be Greg. DJ Greg. Didn't have any crazy names. I had nicknames and stuff back in the day. But for me, I've always just been me. I mean, why would you want to not be yourself? I mean, they say, well, you got to be different, but you got to stick out and everything, but be yourself. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Did you hear what they just said? Like, what? That makes no sense. Be the same. If there's only one you and you're being yourself, doesn't that make you different? Think about that. I mean, it doesn't. So I've came down. You said one of the biggest things that I've learned. I am positive that the people that try to tell you the most about what you should do are the ones that know the least, because they don't know. And that's just me. I know that's rough to hear for some people, but for me, I just was like, well, I'm listening to this guy talk, and I'm like, but I don't feel that way about it. I'm going to do my thing. Come with me. That's like playing. It's like, I call it the lottery ticket syndrome. So you play the same lottery numbers, your sister's birthday, your wife's, and you're this and that. And you play the same damn numbers for like 20 years and you never win. The one time that you're like, the hell with it, and you just play whatever, and those original numbers you've been playing for 20 years actually come out. Now, you lose the lottery every day, right? Every day you don't win, you lose, right? Or if you want to look at it that way. But you stuck with your numbers. So the one time you don't, if it hits, you weren't just losing. You feel 100 times worse, because you're like, well, damn it. Those are the numbers that I've always picked my whole life. The one time, you know how life works. The one time, that's when it comes out. So stupid analogy kind of, but what I'm saying is you stay true to what it is and don't vary from that course. And eventually I mean, you'll come out on top. That's, I know, like I said, that's what I call the lottery tickets, but it's a lot of people can relate to that. It resonates with a lot of people. It transcends how they might feel about this or that or these different things. Stay
Right.
true to yourself. I tell people all the time, I'm like, you don't have to be the best podcaster or best broadcaster or the best licensed or the social media guy or, a gamer, influencer. Be the best Parks, be the best Greg, be the best you. That way, everything you touch is the best. Why would you put all your eggs in one basket? So if you're the best that you could possibly be, everything you're touching is the best in your eyes.
Right.
That is how I roll.
Wow. It's funny because when I first started television, I was probably, I'll say about 18. And I remember we went I went to this thing for public access television back in Chicago. Matter of fact, the day that I was supposed to graduate and get my GED, I skipped my graduation and do my first show.
I like that already.
So,
by the way, public access Chicago. Anybody ringing a Wayne's World bell right here? I'm just saying.
It was funny because I went and I remember I had this script. I was supposed to go in there and tell the audience about this new show I was working on, and so we had 5 minutes live, to be able to tell a little bit about whatever, get in there and talk. So I remember getting in there, they turned the cameras on, and I went through the whole my whole spiel in like 30 seconds, and then we had 4.5 minutes. And I'm like, I already had it in my head that the whole spiel is going to last 5 minutes. I get in there, it's 30 seconds. And then you're like, what am I going to say for 4.5 minutes? You never realize how long that is when it's live and you're in front of millions of people.
Oh, yeah. It feels like an hour.
Yeah. Right. How do you deal with that, like, as a DJ? Because, I know you guys go in there and you guys have, like, an agenda of things that you guys, plan to talk about that day so that you continuously fill the air. Have you ever, like, ran out of material or what? How do you deal with that?
Material. I mean, everyday life. I mean, there's never a shortage of being able to. I mean, even if you're just doing current events. But like I said before, a dead air is our kryptonite for an interviewer, a podcast, or a DJ. What I do is terrestrial radio, I guess you would call it. So, so that your audience understands, in my opinion, and a lot of people would agree that the difference. I mean, podcasting was born from broadcasting. Such as it is. I mean, so it's a coexisting thing. So do you need a license or anything to be a podcaster? No, but that doesn't diminish what they do. So that's more niche based. So if it's video on demand, that's the way I see it. So someone can have a show like yours or the many that I know, a lot of people out there that have that. And when we do our interviews, it's kind of like a podcast format. But what happened is, like, so if you go, okay, I want to watch a podcast about diabetes, let's say, well, like whatever it is, and so you'll go on Spotify or iCover, whatever it is, and you'll find it. I'm sure YouTube, whatever, and then you'll find one, and then it could be a series. You could like the guy or just what. With what I do, it's more rigidly timed. There's commercials, there's sweeps, there's jingles, there's sponsorships, there's so many different things going on. Callers are coming in. You have the engineer, you got the guy in your ear. Now it's AI arguing with you. Are you ready? Are you ready? Yes, I'm freaking ready. I've been ready for an hour. Are you ready? So you have to deal with that. And I'm arguing with someone who's not even real. That's how ridiculous my life can be. But anyway, and I lost. But I'm like, okay, well, with what I do, so it's for the masses. So anybody that comes in on 88.6 FM. So if they're not local, New York, New Jersey area, and they go through Live 365 and they find me, Machine Radio, okay, they can find me in California, in the United Kingdom, in Canada, where all the cold air comes from, by the way. And I'm able to do what I do only because it's, how can I explain it? It's just, in other words, you might have someone that calls in or a guest that's in the actual studio that has diabetes or wanted to talk about it, but it's not a whole show about it where a podcast would be like, this episode is blah, blah, blah. With me, we might touch on it and then we move on. Then we have music and everything. So I have, once again, I hedge. I have the radio part, which we're live like every Saturday. We did a big event over our 4th of July. It was Friday and Saturday. We kicked everybody's ass, by the way. I'm just being very modest. But in our market, I'm saying. But the fact that how can I put it without sounding pretentious? It's for everybody. It's hard to say. It's, in other words, if someone likes you, they're going to come and listen to whatever you have to say
Right.
that particular day because it's not niche. So if excuse me, I said, okay, well, I like Parks McGregor. I want to go and check out their TV thing or whatever. I'm going to
Right.
go tune it. He's on Spotify. He's wherever, Amazon Music. With me, they might just be throwing on their radio, or now it's internet based. You don't even need transmitters anymore, and they just happen to catch one thing. Well, it's of paramount importance that they know when you're going to be there. Like with
Right.
Howard Stern did Afternoon Drive when he went over from WABC to K Rock or whatever.
Right.
They knew, oh, okay, we could get him every day between 2 and 6 or whatever it was. So people knew, that they could do it. So with radio, it's different. Like I have to do the ads, or we do it, or our team will put something together. But then we mix the music up. Like we had just a hard rock night, and then it's mostly it's Gen X based, I should say, meaning that obviously I'm Generation X, and I'm going to do what I know, the most. So, but then we have like just disco, and then we had freestyle night, and then we had 80s hair band night, and then you'll see the ads. So it's a little something for everybody, and that versatility is what if they like me, I'm
Right.
doing funny, crazy shit, which I would have did anyway. So it goes beyond money too. It's about, if you love what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. I mean,
Right.
I look forward to it. Some people get nervous and they freeze up. They go, some people, that mic or the video, it's not for them. Well, that's what
Right.
makes them the audience, and that's okay. You know what I mean? We're entertainers. I talk to people that have trauma and important stuff, and
Right.
advocating against child trafficking and speaking about like abuse and everything, because these are subjects that I know that are important to people, but it's not about the ratings. I believe in these people that are advocating for good. So
Right.
I will throw that in, and then I'll have like a A-lister on, like a musician or whatever, a little something for everyone, but I don't allow anyone to say, well, that's your niche. You're held to that. That's not how you do it. You're supposed to, because I'm obstinate. Being a Sicilian Scorpio, we wake
Right.
up pissed off. You know what I mean? As soon as you wake up, you're like, what the fuck? But I just believe that I don't agree with that model. I know that goes against the grain, though, Parks, where it's like, no, you have
Right.
to establish your niche and everybody would do it. Then you can spread it. I don't believe that is true. I believe I'm going to do whatever I feel. So if I want to talk about the Yankees and then someone is talking about domestic abuse, and I got to tell them, no, sorry, we're talking about Jeter today. I mean, come on. You want to be able to do this. So that's why the mass appeal that anything can be talked about, anything can be said, any guest might show up. To me, that's why there'll never be a shortage, to answer your question. It's a long version, but the shortage of subjects to talk about, things to broach, or you throw music on. Music is really a way. I put on my earphones and I leave this world for a little while, whether it's rock. I mean, obviously I'm more rock based. I'm a classic rock guy. However, I
Right.
listen to all types of music. I've listened to opera, if you could believe that. I know they're like the Mean Machine, listen to opera. Hello. But music is music, and talent is talent. That's why people send me stuff. There's rappers in New York that send stuff to my email. I have to have it so it's unsolicited.
Right.
Talent, they're like, I know it doesn't fit in with your show. No, it doesn't, but talent does. So if it's
Right.
not me, I could pass it off to someone good. I'm giving people opportunities that they wouldn't have had, that I didn't have, and
Right.
maybe help them not have the same pitfalls or the same little landmines where things are. Because a lot of things have changed. Not
Right.
People haven't changed that much. You still have to. They've got to like you, but more or less they will see right through you if you're being fake.
Right.
They just know it's human element. It's a human condition. So I'm not. I eat Apple Jacks and shit when I'm live on air, and I'm just being me. And I'm
Right.
funnier, they said, than some of the comedians I have on.
Well,
That right there is funny. I'm like, but it's not because I'm trying. It's just, that's me, Parks. I mean,
right.
if you can't be you, who's going to be you? And
Exactly.
if you want to leave a legacy, shouldn't it be on the premise of what you like what you really are and not what you're really not?
Right.
My biggest fear since I was a kid, out of everything, was not being heard. Sit down, be quiet. Children are to be seen, not heard. Shut up. And I understand. I have brothers and stuff. But there was a time where I just was like, I don't want to be quiet anymore. So how can I express myself from all that was inside me? Well, a disc jockey talking to hundreds of thousands of people, I think that does the trick. What do you think? Kind of went the other way with that. That's a true story, though. That's
Right. Right.
It drives me. The fact that people are enjoying, they're going to enjoy this interview because they like you. And then there's going to be people that your audience have no idea who I am because I'm pretty famous in Jersey, but not a whole lot of other places. Well,
Right.
that could change. And now they're like, oh, well, if Greg gave an interview for Parks, they don't know who you are. But now you get those people. I mean, it's a
Right.
win-win.
Right.
And I love doing that because it makes, we're on this side of the fence, not in a
Right.
bad way. And there's people that are not. And
Right.
to me, you have to, it's like a professional courtesy, it's spending time, you don't get time back, you got to always thank people for their time because no matter how much money or wealth or health or anything you have going on in life and items that are, you can't buy time back. You'll never get that time back ever again in your life. That's why we're taught to thank people for their time. They'll never get that time back. The time we have right now, we'll never
Right.
get it back ever again. So it's
Yep.
time well spent. It's okay. That's
Right.
that's old school values right there coming oozing out of me. So,
Man, you know what? You bring up a good point too. That's one of the things that people try to do with my show too. Is you're like, hey, pick either interview actors, interviews musicians, or I interview a lot of the guys from the Power Slap. I don't know if you've ever seen these guys that just sit and just smack each other. So I have a lot of
we do that at dinner on Sunday because we're Italian. Is that what you're talking about? Like pass the salt and no, I don't know, but I'm intrigued though because I thought I was alone here.
No, there's a new sport. It's called Power Slap, but Dana White runs it. The guy who runs,
wait, where they got to stand up and like?
Yeah.
Yes, I did see that. That's awesome, by the way.
Yeah. So I have different guys that. Matter of fact, tonight I have Vernon Cathy who just knocked somebody out. That I was really glad that he knocked this person out. He's gonna be on my show tonight. So
I'm really glad. I'm really glad you said. Say what you really mean, Parks. Don't hold it back at all. I hate this son of a bitch. I hope he's going down. Rock on, baby. Like that's.
So this guy that he knocked out is one of those guys who just talks so much trash about different people,
Okay.
and he's never been knocked out before. And so in Power Slap 8, Friday, it was on July 28th. They put this guy's a young guy, and so they put a guy that was I don't want to say twice as old, but quite a bit older than him, to compete against him, and nobody gave the older guy the chance, and he ended up knocking this guy out
with one slap. You get one. Is that the rules that you only get like one?
You
or?
get more than one slap. So there's typically you go 3 to 5 rounds. So one guy was slap, and you got to stand there. You can't flinch. You can't like move your head or anything. You just got to take the slap. And then once that guy slaps you, if you survive it, you don't get knocked out, then you get to slap that guy. And you go, 3 rounds.
Sounds great, man. Why am I not having these guys on my show? Just to do it. Like, let's do a practice one. Like, you're an asshole. Let's, I mean, this is Jersey. That's like a term of endearment, It's good.
Right. So this thing has grown too, man. Like when they first started, it was underground. It was
like Fight Club.
Yeah, exactly. They would just tell these guys where to be, and the guys would show up. And then Dana White ended up taking over, and then now this thing is like huge, and now it's being sanctioned in several different cities in the U.S. Texas being one of them. They're going to bring it here.
Sanctioned, really? I mean, and you're Dana White. We're talking about the W. I mean, he's
the UFC, the guy who runs
right.
Yeah,
I know who he. Yeah, the guy with the bullet. Yeah, no, wow.
Yeah.
So that brings it legitimacy. The fact that Dana White is involved with it, I would think. I mean, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So he's taking this thing like, just since Power Slap 6 to 8, 6 they had it in Vegas during Super Bowl weekend, and so a lot of celebrities showed up, and I was like,
right.
Okay, there was a lot of celebrities. It was a big crowd. Power Slap 7, they had even more people show up and more celebrities, and then 8, they had to move venues, and they went from like 300 people to 3,000 people showing up. So
wow,
I mean, things growing, and now they're sanctioning it where they're actually going worldwide. They just had his Power Slap 8, a guy from Russia who's a farmer that came out. His name's Dumpling, and
Sounds very intimidating, but
yeah,
yeah.
this dude's like big dude. So he
Dumpling.
comes out. He's going against a guy called the Polar Bear. Big dude, massive dude. One slap. It's all it was. One slap laid this guy out. I swear, when Polar Bear went down, the guy was. You could see the lights out. He was out. I mean, the guy was just laying on the ground. I was concerned that like they actually made him kill the guy. He was
Right.
he got hit so hard. But anyways, so people were like, hey, so you got power slap guys on, maybe that should be your niche, But
Mm.
I'm like you. I like talking to these guys, the guys from Power Slap, because they're all just regular guys who's, in this new sport.
Yeah.
By the way, each fight you get $10,000 for showing up, 10,000 if you win, and if you have like the sportsman bonus, that's another 10. So you can make 30,000 in one match.
So a $10,000 for me just showing up in the ring. Another
Right.
10 if I win. So that's up to 20. And what's the other 10?
Right. 10 is if you have like the the showman bonus, like if you like had the best like knockout or whatever,
Oh.
So you get 30, you potentially can make 30,000 in one showing.
Parks, I got to tell you, man, the way that I grew up, my brothers and in Jersey and everything, we should be multimillionaires for all the people that we slapped around, God slapped, all the stuff in there, and we were definitely ahead of. I mean, we should basically have yachts and mansions and everything because we were very hands on.
Right.
So,
I grew up
just
in
saying,
Chicago.
where was the money then? $10 to show up, $20 that you owe, and then you got to give $30 to someone else for doing it. So you already owe 10 before you even show up. So rock on. I mean, that's great. But I think things have changed a little bit. But yeah, I wish I would have gotten in. If I only knew then what I know now. So,
Right. But saying that, I'm like you. I don't like being confined into a box.
yeah.
Of something
Labeled.
saying, this is what your
Labels.
show should be.
Yeah.
I love bringing people in. Like one day we'll talk to an advocate. I had a lady on whose daughter was murdered. Well, she committed suicide, but it was due because she was raped by a sex offender who got let out. So we have people like that come in. Photographers come in. I have like a ton of people. I love just bringing people on the show and just hearing their journeys, regardless of what the industry they're in. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, why label yourself that Parks should only talk to WWE guys or just do that or we'll have to have a special edition. Look, you're doing the same. I mean, in the podcast type that you do it, mine is radio, but in essence, it's almost the same thing. You're going to do what you want to do. It's not always cookie cutter. It keeps it new. It keeps it fresh, and you're actually helping people. That's therapeutic for people to be able to tell their story. Some people don't want to go on camera. I've had that before, and that I took months to cultivate for them to even feel comfortable. Like they would do their due diligence. I mean, find out, yes, I really am a DJ. I really am on the radio. Yes, you can look it up, and I have license numbers. I have a NAB license. I have FCC license. I mean, I am, but it takes them time. They got to be sure, and I understand doing their due diligence is something that shouldn't be rushed. But once they realize, and then you have the other people that as soon as they hear my voice, they're like, "Oh, yeah, you're on the radio." It does happen. Like the lady I saw today, and that's very flattering. But I do what I do for others because you get it back that way, And when you least expect it, Parks, you know what I mean?
Right.
People will rally around you, or sponsors seeing like that. I want to be part of the meme machine. That's a tough brand and everything. But then I have a heart too. We do a lot of stuff for charity. So when people want to hear music on when we are live on Twitter and X on Saturday nights, and then we're also live on the air. And then we might go on like Facebook or whatever it is. But for right now, it's kind of the best of both worlds. So it's not only the local market that's going to hear me, but if they enjoy it, and let's say he's in Ohio or they're in, whatever, Arkansas or whatever it is, I have people that call and send emails from Colorado. That's cool because they like what it is. Just because you're not in this area, things have changed. You can only get the locals. Now you can watch LA news on your satellite here in New York, whatever it is. So the fact that I can appeal to not just my market, But the fact that here we are years later, and I have people emailing saying I watch and listen to you with my mom.
Wow.
First of all, hot. No, I'm only kidding. But first of all, it's no, but just say it's but that's cool because it's appealing to different. It's not just Generation X,
Right.
and it's look, good is good, talent is talent. I could be funny, or I could be this, or I could look like that, and you're gonna have this, and you're gonna have. The bottom line is, I've always enjoyed when people like what I played,
Right.
whether it was handpicked, which most of the stuff is by me, or not, and they're enjoying themselves. They lost themselves. They're jamming in their car, or they're
Right.
on a whatever it is. I have people that were in a hospital. Oh, and then there was actually another one where it was I just got it today. They were thanking me, and I didn't know who it was at first. They said we had just came from a funeral. We were at a wake, and so we're sitting in like this auditorium thing because it was like connected with a school or something like that.
Right.
And they were sitting there playing like this mundane, like everybody was like eating, and like a guy puts on my while we're live this last Saturday, and he puts the sound on his phone. And they're
Right.
like, "What's that?" And we're jamming. It's like Boston, More Than a Feeling, whatever it was. And then they heard
Right.
the Bee Gees, and then they heard Godsmack, and they're like, "What the hell station is this?" Where this guy's bouncing around. Then they
Right.
see me, and I look like I should jump on a goddamn Harley or something. They're like, "Who the hell is this? The Mean Machine? What is that?" And they were enamored with it. And you know what? They really liked it. They actually dedicated a song that I'm going to play this Saturday. It's an old song
Wow.
by Rainbow, like Ronnie James Dio and Richie
Yeah.
Blackmore. And I'm actually going to play this. It's nice. What I'm saying is it's nice to get that back where they lost themselves for a little while. You help them be in a better place. So on my bio on Twitter, it says helping people fight back and feel better. And those aren't just words. That's how I feel.
Right.
Take my hand. I've been to the promised land. I know what it looks like. I've had my 15 minutes. Me and Steve, by the way, argue about that all the time. He goes, "You've not done it 15 minutes. You could do it." I'm like, "All right, Steve, take it easy." But he's right. And no, because we've known him for a long time, like you have. But it's just you have to think along those lines. I went from nobody even knowing what I was to having New Jersey Magazine ask if I could vie for the cover. Now, I probably won't get it, but the fact that you're even asked and spoken about in the same in the same things, like they speak about Joe Rogan or something, and then say about Gregory Joseph. I mean, that's kind of cool. The fact that we get threatening emails saying you can't release that interview, which the way I am, I'm like, where is it? Put it in post production. Do it now. And this guy, we're doing it. The best way or easiest way to get me to do something is tell me I can't do it. That's the
Right.
way I'm built. And that's how I survive, because I've survived over 30 years in this business on and off. I took like an 11-year hiatus when I left Florida and I came back, for personal reasons, but
Right.
it wasn't fun. When it became that it wasn't fun, it was a chore. Oh, do you want this? Do you want this shift? I don't feel like doing it. And, and you're making money. I mean, we were making a lot of money, all disposable income. I'm not going to make the Steve Rubel Studio 54 mistake and start calling out, I paid all my taxes. You remember that shit, right? And
Yeah.
foolish. Okay. So that's not that. I'm being funny, but not really. Please leave me
Right.
alone. But it didn't feel fun. And that's was like the thrill was gone. The magic scene, and it wasn't. It just went dormant. And then and you have family, and you get married, and you have kids or whatever. Life gets in the way sometimes.
Right.
So here I am, and that was 2012. I left the booth in 2000. I did an 80s night. I always liked doing stuff like that. I always started with the same thing. Eye of the Tiger. It's like the Italian rite of passage, and I missed it, but not that much. I would still get asked, can we just record your voice? And I went, no. Like I was saying no to every interview, and I just wanted that part. I figured it was over with. That was done. I wanted it that way.
Right.
And then you have COVID that comes in this week. Fast forward to 4 years ago. And
Right.
I'm watching these people, and they're making, it's not about the money, but they're making money hand over fist, and they're on Twitch or whatever they're doing, and they're playing like Madden and shit. Like we all do that. But
Right.
I'm like, what the hell? Guy has no voice. They have nothing to say. Absolutely nothing to say to anyone. They're in a dorm somewhere with the unmade bed in the background, and mom sent over meatloaf sandwich. Like, what the? And these people are actually. This guy's a DJ. I'm like, you know what? Hold my beer. I can't take this shit anymore. Let me show you what a real DJ sounds like. Let me show you what a real DJ does.
Right.
And I started to get a feel for it, because I just felt that it was, again, time to prove something, not to them, to me.
Right.
I'm older now. I'm wiser. You can't put a price tag on stuff like that.
Right.
And I just fell back into it. Now, with all these different platforms, we didn't have that stuff. When even as soon as 2012, there was no Twitter and all. I mean, none of this stuff. I mean, there was Facebook, but it was,
Right.
we're just on the exit part of MySpace. If you can
Right.
believe that shit. By the way, I have a quick question. How come everything that we have, all these different things now, it's 2024? How come MySpace to this day was the only one where you had your page where it had music on it? Can someone explain that to me? Wasn't that cool? You
Yeah.
went to your MySpace and it had music, right? You trying to tell me we don't have the technology for that in 2024, but this son of a bitch has got a car that can freaking fly and shit, but we can't put music on there? Mine was Godsmack, whatever. That was my song when people went to there.
Right.
I'm just saying that seems weird. That why can't we? That was pretty fun. And you could change it, whatever mood you were in.
Right.
You know,
And
why
I
can't
think-
we do that now? Talk to somebody, Parks. Help us out, man.
Yeah, I think once
No.
Napster where the people started going after Napster.
Yeah.
They started getting licensed, and
Mm.
then
File sharing.
Yeah, people were, the bands were complaining they weren't getting paid for all the things that was going on in MySpace. All the music that was being played, and
But now they could do that. We pay music licensing to Sound Exchange and BMI and
Right.
all that kind of. No, but that's a good point. And I
Yeah.
remember Metallica was really vocal about it.
yeah,
back in
they
the day.
were
Lars Ulrich, yeah, he was. And I mean, he had a point. I mean, he's like, well, we're doing all this, with
right.
we should get paid for it. But that's a good point. See, I don't know. I'm smart enough. I know I don't know everything. See that? You walked right into that one. But no, that actually makes sense to me, I guess. Yeah, I remember that in Pirate Bay and all that. Remember Frostwire and
Right.
LimeWire. Just here, download this humongous virus into your computer and play
Right.
music, fragments of music. And yeah, that's great. Your computer won't be worth a damn. It won't be worth a dime. It's all fucked up now. But you did get Eddie Money's greatest hit. So you're like, well, that's a great exchange. I mean, that's a win-win right there. It's just funny the way we think, right? How about downloading stuff in like 1997, 98? You have to do it to burn it to a disc, to a CD, which we
Right.
could do in about 3 seconds now. Literally, I was there for like 4 hours.
Right.
You got to get Barbie Girl on there. Remember, I'm a Barbie Girl. I'm like, ridiculous, but okay. So we had that. I remember the year, it was around that time. It took forever to get this stuff on a disc.
Right.
Think about how far we've come. Now, look, going to be like a hologram in a few years. I'll be like, all right, I'm going to play Foreigner. I'm going to play
Right.
that. I'm going to play Deep Purple. I'll just press that or whatever. I mean, from what I can tell, man, we're not that far away from AI is already trying to steal my voice. I'm like, if you want to make me immortal, you're paying for it.
Right.
If you're taking they did. Sony tried to, well, you're trying to tell me a little guy from Taiwan's going to own my voice. It's my voice.
Right.
Yeah, well, they're asking. Pretty soon they're not going to ask. So we did sign a thing. I was part of that where they signed a thing where it's got to be regulated with AI because, like any other good idea, it's going to get abused somehow in some way, and it's going to put a lot of people out of work and everything. So that's why I hedge what I do. That's just how I feel about it, though.
And you bring a good point too, man. When we first started doing this stuff, like when I was doing television, my first shows in Chicago were music video shows. So we used to get these big cassettes with videos. In my case, we actually went and filmed the videos. I would go into the into the projects and we would film rap videos, and then I
go Death Wish. What's
well, I grew up there. So
thank God.
So I would go take it to the studio, put the whole video together, and then launch my show for that week. But people don't realize how much the technology now has changed from when we did it. I'm sure the same was with the music part of it. Now everything's computerized, but back then we used to actually take actual big cassettes and would have to splice them and put things together. So that's one of the things that when I came back, because I did the show, I came back after the pandemic, because the reason I came back is during the pandemic, everybody was fighting over everything. Everybody was, fighting over politics, religion, race, whatever.
I know. That's why we don't do politics and religion, because it seems like it's very controversial. It's kind of like being in a bar.
Right.
When you're in a bar, those are like the unwritten rule. You don't talk about that. You don't talk about this. And you definitely are not in New York talking about the Red Sox. You get your ass kicked. But there was like just certain things that You didn't do it. But you're right. You're towing the line with a lot of this stuff, right?
Right.
And especially it's charged up. It's very polarizing, everything that goes on and everything. It's just, I get what you're saying though,
Yeah.
because we,
So what I
you know,
did is I wanted to create a show that showed that we had more in common than we had to separate us.
that's actually a
So
good idea. Yeah.
yeah. So that's why I started bringing people in to tell their stories and, kind of share what their journey is so that it would inspire other people.
Right.
I know it's not the most popular platform because, YouTube and Facebook, they all hide all my content, but I don't
What
do
do
what
they do? They
they
hide
hide.
it, you said?
Yeah, they because you don't fit the algorithm. They want stuff's controversial that's going to keep people fighting and arguing.
Yeah.
So
I say you're actually right about that. You know what sells? Sex, conflict, fighting,
right,
anything. But it's people are like, oh well, I could go viral. Just not to interrupt. But that you hit on something that I'm very adamant about.
right,
It's everyone thinks, well, I want to go viral. You
right,
really don't. And they're like, well, Greg, what does that mean? And you'll probably agree with this, though, Parks, because you've been doing what you do for a while and you're good
right,
at it. You know that you don't want one and done. Somebody's not watching it because they like Gregory Joseph or they like the Mean Machine Radio Show or they like Parks McGregor or Cross or whatever the case may be. It's
right,
not that. It's they're watching just that one thing to get their fill, to get their fix of bullshit or whatever it is, and it's human nature. And you got about 4 to 6 seconds before someone swipes something. It's immediate gratification. Oh,
right,
just like the people that someone's getting assaulted, instead of trying to help them, let's take a goddamn video of it. That's
right,
the kind of shit that irks me.
right,
What if that's somebody's mom or grandmother I mean, come on. Where's the humanity here? And I'm not a bleeding heart liver. Trust me, I'm far from it. But humanity's humanity. What the f are you doing, man?
right,
You know what I mean? So I don't think that going viral is a good idea. I think scaling as you go, little at a time, anything worthwhile is worth taking your time and doing it correctly, doing it properly, doing it the right way, whatever that way may be.
right,
So, like you said, it doesn't fit the algorithm because it's not taking off. Well, I'd rather get 6,000 hits on something than 600,000, and I never see those people ever again because they didn't care about that. They just wanted to see this person get clubbed over the head. Remember, like during COVID, there was like the cops were getting hit or just like any kind of conflict,
right,
good, bad, or indifferent. It's like they couldn't turn away. So it's not just sex. It's not just, it's any, that's the human element once again. So I agree with you that they want to block stuff. They do that with me sometimes because I do nothing but I go out of my way to upset people. No, I'm kidding. I go out of my way to just be, if that's where that show is going and that's what this like, here's your platform. Here's your chance. Say what needs to be said.
right,
Knock yourself out. I'm not going to edit it out. Why do it? Not to mention certain people, but why do it and then shelf it? Why would you let this person go through all that, pour their heart out, and say what needs to be said, and then shelf it? Why? Because it doesn't fit your narrative? That pisses me off, actually. So why'd you even bother? Leave the guy alone. This isn't therapy, but for them it is. It's therapeutic. You have a responsibility to give them your platform. And I feel that way. I don't have to. I want to. It makes me feel good to do it. And you know what? I got some lifelong friends because of it. That is worth any amount of money. It just is. At the end, we didn't come into this world with money. We're not leaving with it.
right,
So you better live in the dash. The dash is in between the day you died and the day that you were born. That dash on that thing. Live in the dash. Don't worry about the beginning and the end. That's just me. I know that might sound. I get what you're saying though. Like they want to tell you what you should do to fit this. No, I'm not doing it. I'm obstinate to begin with, but I can tell that you're agreeing with me. I know you are.
Right. Man, so I know you got some other things to do today too, because I'm touching for an hour. So
yeah,
if people are trying to find your show, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, we're on all the different social media. And thank you for that. So if you like the radio part of it, let's just say, and you're not local, but you want to hear the music. So we have different DJs that we're getting resumes from. Right now it's on auto. So you could go to different ones, but the top one is Live 365. You download the app. You could on desktop or iPhone or Android, and you look up Mean Machine Radio. And there's the music going on. So as far as that's good, now every Saturday at this point, as far as a live stream while we're live on the air, locally we're live on the air and then streaming on Twitter X. My handle on that is at Mean. It's actually at WGAT Mean Radio. But you can find it. It says the Mean Machine Radio Show. Same thing
Right.
with YouTube. The interviews that we do on there, and that we have bits and pieces, and then we do like funny clips and that kind of thing. That's at Mean Machine Radio. Then you have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. That's all Mean Machine Radio Network. We're working on a mentorship program as well, where people that actually want to learn radio and that kind of thing, not just podcasting, but beyond that, I will help them. We also have a master class that I'm going to do next year because, I have 30 something years experience doing it, from the highs, the lows, giving it to you straight, not the bullshit and you're going to be the best. No, some of you suck, but you need to be told and you need to know if this is for you. So it's an honest approach to it. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. And I don't do anything half-assed, either all the way or none at all. But we have that. So they could find us every Saturday night. Even if you don't have Twitter, you can listen to us live. But you could go right through there. I don't even think you need to have it kind of comes up as a space or whatever, and you'll see us in there. So that's how you get it every Saturday. And then we run the ads on there, also on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok of what's going on. This coming up, it's 80s Hairband Weekend, or it's Gen X Mix Night, or it's a special edition. We only do special editions when it's a holiday weekend. So we had a Friday and Saturday show on Memorial Day weekend, and we did that, and we took anything that hit our tip cup on my, like Venmo or Cash App and everything. We gave to Wounded Warriors Project that day. And then another time it was for St. Jude's Hospital, or kids with cancer, diabetes, whatever it is. If they want to hear music, I thought of the best thing. I'm like, well, I'm not going to take money for them wanting to hear a song. What I'll do is you put whatever it is, anywhere between $5 and $100, whatever it is, but they want to hear some songs or whatever. They put that in, it goes to charity, and then I play it. So it makes me feel good. We're rocking out. It's all different types of music. It really is, except for country music. You're going to have to tune in to some other shit for that. But anyway, we rock. To me, I'm an 80s guy. Like, you're going to hear Van Halen. You're going to hear Kiss. And I know you're like, I want to hang out with you guys. I know who you are, Parks. But it's a little bit something for everyone. And it, like I said, music makes you escape. It allows you to, your everyday, the work and the kids and the cats and my wife and my husband, and I'm sick or I don't feel good. Just forget about that for a little while. Come hang out with me and my group of people, and you'll see that music can do wonderful things for you. And so that's how you find us. Mean Machine Radio. That's I do. This summer I'm going to be doing like some signings, like a meet and greets and that kind of thing. Me and some of the other DJs, because you got to do stuff that's good for the soul. You have to. I don't care if you're Jewish or Catholic or that has nothing to do with it. We're all human beings. So if you give people a chance, sometimes you might have more in common with them than you think. So music to me brings a lot of people together. So whether they know me, don't know me, love me, hate me, whatever, I don't know how anyone could hate me, man. Look at me. But I believe that that's something where they could just forget about the everyday bullshit and just spend a little bit of time, rock out or whatever, and just have fun. If only for a little period of time, I'll know and I'll feel good that I did something for someone I'll never meet ever. I could walk right by him on the street. But guess what? I made that person forget about their troubles for a little while. I helped them get through some trauma. I helped that. That's a good feeling, Parks. That is why I do what I do. That's the real Greg.
Cool.
It is.
So if some of the stuff that you're working on, if you send it to me, I'll help you promote it as well. Your master class and the events that you're talking about and the signings that you got. If you send that stuff to me, I'll post it on my site as well. So
appreciate it. Yeah, and I do. Like I said, it's all about collaboration. We're friends, so you know what I mean. So I'll do your stuff. I mean, I have the crawls. I mean, you have that part of it, and then I could do it where we're live on the air, and your stuff will be right on the bottom on the crawl. The thing on the bottom. I do that for new artists too. They're sending us stuff unsolicited, so we can touch it and giving people a chance. Reading poetry, their artwork being shared on the screen. Anybody that didn't feel that they ever got the chance to be great, that they already are great. They just need the opportunity to show it. I'm not giving any. I have the uncanny ability, I'm told over and over again, to see beyond the glitz, the glamour, the outside, the exterior, and to see who that person really is. So when they thank me for that, I didn't give them anything that they didn't already have. I just reminded them. Sometimes you need to hear it. And I have gotten a lot more listeners from that alone than just the music. I mean, anybody can play, Bon Jovi song in New Jersey, but
Right.
I am doing something else. I'm doing it for them, not myself.
Right.
Um, I try to be as unselfish as I can, doing good deeds, that kind of thing. So when people find us and they stay, it's not because it's conflict or sex or this and that. It's because it's real.
Right.
Real people. This is our life. We're not going to get this time back. Spend it wisely. So that's what I try to do. For that small little part in time, you spent time with the Mean Machine. You spent time with Gregory Joseph. You spent time with yourself, escaping. Like the Eagles song. Some dance to remember, and some dance to forget. Whatever it
Right.
takes.
Wow. All right, brother. Man, I really appreciate you
Of course.
being on the show, brother. It was great, man. I'm glad we finally get to sit down and
Yeah.
talk, and you get to hear your journey, man.
I could have added more stuff in there, but I don't want to put your listeners to sleep or anything like that. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes and everything, but I tried to
Right.
hit it with the not just bullet points, but to keep it uplifting. You know what I
Right.
mean? They don't have to be me. Like, oh, I wish I could do it. You can. You don't have to be me to do it. You can be you and do it. That's the whole
Right.
point. Just like Frankie Valli's dad told me, I'm telling them, you already have what it takes. It's time to shine. I'll give you that opportunity. I can't do the work for you, but I can give you a chance to say what needs to be said. Talk about your trauma. Talk
Right.
about fighting back. Talk about what you want to do and how you want to be, what you've always had. I'm just reminding them that because you need to hear it sometimes. And then it's up to you. But I'm not giving you anything that you don't already have.
Right.
That's the whole point. It makes people feel good because it does feel good to hear that.
Right.
And I'm flattered that people want me to sign, like I do, like autographs, like online. Like they'll send me the picture, and then I do it, and then you could pay that's 2024, and you go, I have it all over my page. I'm
Right.
happy. I always will take the time to sign an autograph or say hello, or it's hard with my schedule, but
Right.
I wanted to sit. I was happy to sit down with you, and we were going to do this like 2 months ago. I mean, it's just our schedules are crazy, but
Right.
I thank you for having me. It was time well spent, Parks. Thank you very much.
Hey, not a problem, brother. You're welcome back anytime, man.
Thank you, man. Hey, we're gonna have you on here too. We'll do a bunch of crazy shit.
Hey,
We'll do that slap thing. Let's do the slap thing. Let's slap some people. I was gonna do that either way. I was gonna slap some people right. We might as well have fun with it,
right.
We'll get Dana White to come in. It'll be me, you, and Dana White, and then we'll just slap people right. It's Jersey. Like I said, they'll be like,
Right.
fine, get me a pizza now. They don't give a shit. It'll be fine.
One of the guys that I'm friends with, he's on the show quite a bit. His name's Ron Beta. If you look him up, his name's
The name
Ron
rings a bell.
Beta. He's known as Wolverine. He's
Oh
the guy.
shit.
He's the guy that when you see Power Slap, they always show his picture. He's got a big red beard. Anyway, so
Sounds
maybe
daunting.
I'll get him to come on the show, and we'll
Yeah, why not?
We're talking.
Look, we have people backstage all the time. If you want to come by anytime on a Saturday night, let me know. I'll send you the link, and you can sit backstage. We have like look, our buddy Joey. He's going to be there this week. He finally upgraded from a $14 to a $20 headset now, so we can almost hear him now. He's a Newark guy originally, but yeah, he's like they hang out backstage and stuff. They just rock on. You're always welcome to do that. Come on, man. You know that.
Cool, man. Yeah, definitely. Just let me know when.
Every Saturday, you let me know, and then I'll have one of the girls send you a link, just like you sent like this. And you don't have to appear or anything, but you could just sit there. You're actually hearing when we're not on the air and we go to break.
Right.
Like you have that. The stream is still going, but you could actually hear. It's like you're sitting in the booth or in the station in Jersey and seeing. And then we have an after party too, where it's just like us. It's like a private party.
Right.
Yeah, you're always, of course. Come on, man. You're always welcome. Let me know by Friday, and I'll have them send you a link. You can hang out
We'll do that,
for as long as you want. You stay for an hour. You can stay for 6 hours or whatever. We have cops. We have businessmen. We have actors, musicians, people that work for me, people that work at the station, people from a friend of mine from a station in Detroit. Like you're just hanging out with them. And it looks like the friggin' what do you call it? Here's the story, like the Brady Bunch. Like I have all the and I move all the boxes around and mess with them, and I put like stupid, crazy. Me. I'm a stickler for the law. So right. No, it'll be fun. You can stop by anytime, man. You know that. Come on, I'll send you the link. You got my cell. Let me know. We'll send you a link and come by and hang out any Saturday night you want, man. And then you're in the after party, and it's kind of cool. It's you get to go into the inner sanctum, Parks. You see that? You become a mean machiner, bro.
It sounds like fun, man. Yeah, I'll definitely do. I'll send.
All right,
the information over.
Anytime.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us, man. Remember, you guys are uniquely designed with a purpose, and always keep moving forward. Until tonight, don't miss Vernie Kathy tonight. That's going to be a great interview. Peace.
Rock on, baby.